check there. You'll be able to get the YouTube video of this. And so I invited Julia months ago, but they were in the middle, they were busy. uh, Buying a house, trying to buy a house, and then actually getting it done. Um, and so uh, she said, she asked, can I do this at a later date? So then about a month ago, Julia says, I think I'm ready. And I said, well, when do you want to do it? And she said, well, you pick the time. And I said, well, let's go with February 8th because of Bad Bunny. So this is our dear Julia, and let's give her a big hand as she comes on now. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Pastor. Okay, so first I'm going to ask God to guide my words. And then I kind of organized what I wanted to say. I did organize what I wanted to say. But then I kind of let God do the rest. So I want to start with an article that Pastor Moore sent me that he wrote, right? And I'm wondering, why did he send this to me? You know, like Pastor Moore is a mind reader. You know how that is. So I want to share first what he sent me and then my response, because I think that'll set the stage for what I want to say. So first is his article here. This is on intelligence, interconnectedness, and the beloved community. Wonder how you came to be so intelligent. We often think of intelligence as an individual trait, measured in test scores, degrees, or sharp debate skills. But what if real intelligence isn't something we own? What if it's something we share? What if your intelligence is not just yours, but something that emerges between us in conversation, in community, in care? The moment you doubt yourself, you know yourself to be perceptive, seeing what others overlook or choose not to recognize. Then someone enters your life, a thinker, a writer, a friend, who opens a whole world you hadn't seen yet. Or maybe it's a book, an article, or an interview, and you pause, humbled, asking yourself, how could I have ever thought I was intelligent? But you are, because you're open to growth. You are willing to recognize that you are one compendium. I had to look that word up. Thank you. You are willing to recognize that you are one compendium and they are another. You hold a body of knowledge shaped by your experience, and so do they. Each person is a vessel of insight, a chapter in the great story of us. And sometimes, just sometimes, that someone enters your life and notices you, notices your intelligence. Now that is a treasure. So I'm going to read my response. Pastor, this hit a nerve and made me wonder if you're some sort of mind or perhaps vibe reader. I will share a secret. Hanging around the beloved community has always been uncomfortable for me. Mental health issues aside, I have always known the reason. I am not as intelligent as you guys. There's not much that can make me feel insecure except being around people who are well educated. One of the worst feelings in the world, for me anyway, is to feel ignorant. I can't join in the discussion because there's not much I can offer, so I listen. You guys aren't just well educated, you're next level educated. The term you guys use is academia, which means college level professors, yes? You guys are worldly. You know things, history, language, theology, that I just can't keep up with oftentimes. It makes me feel isolated, like there is nothing I have to contribute, and perhaps like I don't belong here. I will not speak on anything I don't understand. But maybe this willingness to listen is what makes me intelligent. There is a difference between being educated and being intelligent. And this is something I never considered. Because if intelligence means a willingness to learn and an ability to think critically, then I do qualify. If it requires humility, I know there is so much that I don't know. Curiosity, and there's so much I want to know about. And connection, I realize the only way to learn is through other people. The beloved community entered my life. You guys are like no group of friends that I've ever had the privilege of hanging around. You guys are not the table that I would go sit with at lunch in high school. I would have nothing to offer the group, nothing to add to the discussion. I was never in the habit of using educated discussion as a form of conflict resolution. And my life was a constant exercise in conflict resolution. However, I might be crazy, but I'm not stupid. Emulate in yourself that which you admire most about others. I admire people who are well educated and always have. Women like the notorious RBG, and men like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So even though I wouldn't choose to sit at your table out of insecurity, I would go introduce myself and ask for a seat because I know I won't grow at the table that I'm used to sitting at. And maybe this makes me intelligent. So to answer your question, in what ways has my life been transformed by someone else's way of thinking? The beloved community has taught me that education doesn't mean jack without compassion. My experience with conflict resolution has always been violence. Hate cannot drive out hate, but in my experience, a foot up the ass will do a fine job of moving it along. But you're so right. It wasn't just one person. It's the beloved community collectively has taught me that love is the answer. That you guys feel the same fury that I do, but your response to that fury is wisdom. You guys have taught me that I can respond the same way with practice. Anything you practice, you get better at. And my willingness to practice is a reflection of my intelligence. So thank you for reminding me not to doubt myself. I immediately regretted offering to speak as soon as you gave me a date, thinking, what could I possibly share with these people? We are cut from completely different cloths. Well, I can share my experience, strength, and hope, like contributing a piece of fabric to a beautiful quilt. If we each contribute, we collectively create a compendium. I had to look that word up and I use it in a sentence of fabrics that eventually make a nice warm blanket. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about my culture and my history because I think it's important. I've recently took a deep dive into my own history, the history of Puerto Rico. And not only was I taught one thing, but I was raised to think certain things. I understand now that that was passed down. I understand now more what our culture, how history shaped that. I know now about how Puerto Rico was colonized. I knew that, right? There were indigenous natives. Spain was the first, right? And then they won independence from Spain only to be taken over by the United States. There were the people of the island were exploited for labor, for military, for bodies to be drafted, okay? And for the land, for the fertile land, okay? So, they sent over financiers who literally like stole the land, long story short. And then when the Puerto Ricans, the field workers, the indigenous people that were native there, when they decided to rise up, the United States put a foot on it. You know what I mean? There's something called las carpetas, which means the files. It was 50 years of, what do you want to say, spying, reconnaissance, you know, where anyone who even mentioned Puerto Rico's independence, you could be arrested, perhaps killed, for displaying the Puerto Rican flag. And those carpetas were files that they had on hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans, just regular people going about their business. But if you were at the movie theater talking about pride in Puerto Rico, or you had a little flag in your wallet, then whoever you were with would be paid to tell somebody about it. Okay? And then here's how it gets interesting. They'll go to your family and they'll say, don't you understand? Your son is over here talking about Puerto Rico's independence. He's going to get us killed, you know? So it's not that, it's a brainwashing, a gaslighting, to the point where mothers were selling out their sons and sons were selling out their mothers. And this happened all the time, everywhere. Nobody could trust anybody. And all of a sudden, that lens gave clarity. It explained so much that I could never understand. I couldn't put together why family to me is so different from what family means to everybody else. I didn't, unfortunately, family doesn't mean shit. That's the reality of it. It really doesn't. So I don't have I never understood that. Fighting will happen with family members, and we move away from family members and we don't involve ourselves with certain members of the family. And we got no problem with that, you know? So I've always known that that was not right. You know what I mean? I've always felt it in my soul. This is not right. I knew that being in New York was not right. I knew it. I always tried, which I understand that made me intelligent, is wanting to get an answer and knowing I wasn't getting a straight answer. Nobody was giving me a straight answer. I went to Catholic school, and I believe, being sent to Catholic school was more of a way to, like, go and be cleansed kind of thing. You know what I mean? Maybe the nuns can help you, or, bless you, or make sure you don't go to hell for being the way you are. Because, in Catholicism, doesn't matter what you do, you're going to go to hell for it. So, which also didn't make sense to me. It's like, that doesn't make sense. You're talking about how God is all loving, but meanwhile, you know what I mean? If I believe a certain thing, or if I act a certain way, I'm going to burn in hell. The two don't make sense, people. So uh, it was a lot of just independent running through my life, you know? So then first I meet Clint, and, you know, we met online. We met on the computer on Zoom, And so he says to me, I would like for you to come to church with me, you know? And I said, church? First of all, first of all, like, I don't even, church. Oh my goodness. And then it's a guy asking me to go to church with him. You know what I mean? That's like taking me home to see your parents kind of thing. I was like, this is strange, but I ran with it. I ran with it because I ran with him from the moment I met him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that same thing that Pastor was talking about. You meet a person and they make you think a different way. So, and the first time I came to Beloved Community, I was hooked. I was hooked on Pastor Moore from day one. I was like, this is different. You know what I mean? It's just different. And so, I don't know, I started this whole discussion talking about how I felt insecure and different, and I kind of always have. It's an underlying thing, but I believe that that's an instinct, you know? Um, and I know that my instincts have allowed me to survive. They have served me, but I can't allow myself to be driven by my instincts. Same thing with the response to violence, and I think I maybe shared about that last week. My instinct is to fight. My instinct is to say, not only fight, but fight with pride over it. Fight and say, you made a mistake by picking a fight with me. And I'm going to teach that lesson today. And you're not going to forget this day. You know what I mean? I'm so good at that. And it's like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I want to, that's why I watch Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I have always watched him speak because I want to be that way. You know what I mean? Emulate in yourself that which you admire the most about others. That man was educated. And I understood that his education combined with his faith, when he spoke, he was able to fight with love. And anything you practice, you get better at. So I am grateful for having been given the audience to speak today. And I feel, the that instinct of being insecure or how do you say, isolating myself is a way to protect myself. You know what I'm saying? It's a wall. My sponsor would say to me, Julia, you're not the tough girl that you seem to be on the outside, you know? Deep down, that's not who you are. And I said, that's all right. That's between me and you. Nobody else needs to know that. Just keep it right there, okay? That's so funny. I could be myself, and I don't have to be tough. I don't want to be, I want to be vulnerable. I want to have friends. I want to reach out. I want to like, you know, like in the breakout room, I want to talk, you know? And it's almost like, I think it's important to share that that's not easy for some people. It's not. It's not. It's asking someone to take off their armor, you know, their safety, their guard. And even though I know I'm safe, just like I said, the history explains it a little bit. You think you're safe. You know what I'm saying? And my instincts say, just stay on your guard, you know? So I appreciate having a safe place to let down my guard. B, I appreciate having people that I can look up to. You know, like I said, you don't grow at the same table that you're used to sitting at, you know? And I appreciate being accepted. I appreciate the fact that my fabric contributes to the compendium, right, of our beloved community. So, all right. With that, I'll end it. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Good morning, everyone. I don't think Caroline's here though, but
Caroline couldn't make it, so I'll stand in. Go ahead, Barbara.
My gosh, I don't even know where to start. That was so beautiful, Julia. I know that other people are going to want to chime in, but you totally challenged me. And I think when I think of the difference between intelligence and wisdom, you are like beyond wise with your wisdom of the words that you said this morning. And to me, there's a huge difference between intelligence and wisdom. I'm frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You also, some of the notes that I took is just the concept of that intelligence emerges between communities. I think that was so beautiful because I could go off on a whole tangent with you on that one, but just the concept, it's very, very like American Western to think like intelligence is like a commodity, like it's mine, instead of it coming from a group and a community. I just loved that. And then that being intelligent is all these other qualities that you brought up, your humility, willingness to listening, curiosity. I think that those are completely define someone who is intelligent. And I think that was an awesome way of looking at it. And then your whole thing about conflict resolution and how your upbringing and how you dealt with it. And I thought that's another whole thing we could go down the road. And just that love is the answer. And then, oh my gosh, what you just said, don't grow at the same table you're sitting. I mean, you don't grow if you keep sitting at the same table. You have to sit at different tables. And I thought that was another really wise thing that you said. That was a really good reminder for me, and that I hope I continue to do until the day I die. Is there some, Pastor, do you want to have any words?
I'm going to draw on my Pentecostal vocabulary and say, Julia, you are anointed. Yeah, the anointing is when it comes from a deep place where God lives in you and comes unfiltered. I mean, it's one of the things I admire about this community. Marcy comes to mind when you bring the full you, the real you, and that's a gift to our collective intelligence. That it makes all of us more intelligent for you to be you, right? We would be less intelligent without the input of Julia. So, yeah,
For sure.
that's Ana Rosa's hand is up.
I just thought it was so interesting that you maybe it's just humility because I put it in the chat. You're actually the most intelligent person I've ever met, and I'm not exaggerating. I've learned so much from you, and I I appreciate Dr. Martin Luther King a lot too, but I also don't think that negates who we already are and what we bring to the table. I think that's learning from him just helps us add tools to what we have because I do think we need that fighter sometimes, that you have in you. Um, because sometimes there will be meetings where literally nobody will say something where something is very obvious, but everyone's too scared to say it. And it's like, no, we have to say it right in this moment, even if you don't know what kind of, I don't know, drama it's going to cause, or you know what I'm saying? So I feel
Yeah.
like that instinct that you have, it's not a bad one. It's
Yeah.
just what Rosie also said in the chat in response to what I said is just being strategic. So having all the tools available of what we need to do in the particular situation, because I will never ever ever fault anyone for uprising against oppression in whatever way that they feel like they need to, because I haven't been part of every single fight in the world. So, it's kind of like what what Renee's wife said. We had whistles, they had guns. So, I'm just saying we're not always going to be able to win with whistles. And we're seeing that time and time again. So we need to get really smart about what we do and how we do it. So yeah, just I want you to love on yourself a little bit more and just like recognize how damn intelligent, beautiful, strong you are. And I love that fighter spirit that you have. So don't lose it.
I love you, Anna. Thank you so much. And I just want to respond to, I think, I was talking about instinct. I have always, I can't help it. It is an instinct. If I hear some, ever since I was a kid, I was the one that raised my hand and asked questions. Where nobody else asked questions, I would be sitting there thinking, aren't you guys, don't you want to know what I want to know right here? Right? So, when I see an injustice, there is no fear. There is, as a matter of fact, it's different. It's not, I can't even explain it. It's more like, what is everybody sitting around pretending? You know what I mean? Like, and that I think the instinct is God-given. So it's less of a, it's like you get this feeling, God's will, not my will. I have to stop a lot and say that pause. Is this God's will or my will? And that clarifies it. Can I just raise my hand and say, this is injustice? That's God's will. But then do I have to add a little more to that and get myself in trouble? Maybe not, But thank you so much. I appreciate that, Anna.
It looks like Dr. Dave has his hand raised.
Julia, thank you for that lovely message. And I don't like to speak for other people, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I feel comfortable speaking for everyone and saying that we think you're brilliant.
Yeah.
And
Brilliant.
and I mean that both literally, because you shine. You just flat out shine. And also figuratively in the sense of you have a very impressive innate intelligence. So let me go on record as saying that. But you talked about education. Most people would think that I'm well educated. I'm a medical doctor. I was a professor of medicine in Boston, but I never felt like I was particularly well educated, mostly because I was good at science. It allowed me to get into medical school at quite a young age. And most of my the classes I took consisted of solving problems and coming up with an answer that could be often it was just a number. And I wasn't well read, and I really didn't feel like I was particularly well educated. I think that real education is not so much consisting of degrees. Real education is something you give yourself. It's having a curious mind and thinking. And you obviously are a thinker. As you say, you were asking the questions that no one else was asking. So, I mean, you can spend a few years in school and get a degree or a few degrees, but then there's the rest of life. And if you just put up a diploma on the wall and you don't open a book after that, you're not particularly well educated. I think life and education kind of go together. It's a lifelong process. And you obviously have excelled at that. So that's what I wanted to say. And God bless you.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Great sense of humor, which is so
And
Thank
there
you.
are people who, there are people who have diplomas on the wall from Ivy League institutions who are not very intelligent.
yeah.
I got a little something.
Yeah, first we get her hand
Okay, yeah.
for a bit, and then Matt, is that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks.
I just want to commend you, Julia, and I think one of the smartest things that a human being can do is ask a question, and the reason for that is because that person is engaged, and I was in classes where I'm sitting with hundreds of other students, and nobody's asking a question except me. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it. Does everybody else know it? You know, what's going on here? But I don't get it. So I'm asking questions because I paid for this class. And then I found out later that half of them were sleeping. A third of them had no idea what was going on and couldn't ask a question because they didn't know what to ask. And then there was a bunch of them who had questions but were afraid to ask. And how stupid is that? Because you won't learn if you don't ask. And so I think that, the people who ask are the real intelligent people in the class. They're engaged, they're thinking, they want to know. And I've had a few times that I've volunteered at some of my daughter's classes. And when I see a kid asking, boy, I put out. I'm like, I'm going to teach you. And all the other kids who are just, snooze festing or don't care, I don't care about them. But if there's a kid that asks a question, boy, I'll put my all into it. And I just admire that. I think you should be proud of that and encourage it everywhere you can.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Brigida.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Matthew.
Wait, just trying to unmute. It really resonated with your story, actually. I mean, it feels kind of weird saying that as a white guy growing up in the States and in a suburban community, but it was a part of your story of saying you were asking these questions and nobody could answer them around your Catholic school, your family, and this idea of like this curiosity, this question that you had deep down inside you. of like, what about this other way? Like there's this, and I had that in my way too, you know, growing up in a violent home and I grew up seeing racism and exploitation in Oakland, and then going back to the suburbs, and kind of like, why is it, people just couldn't answer those questions for me, like, why does this exist? And I got told to just like, oh, you know, this is the way, you know, just stay in the suburb, like this is education. And I I went to university, and I learned how important it is to be with the people. And I think what I see in your story is just the ability to be with the people, and I just got told that that is the importance. That is actually the intelligence. Intelligence is the interconnectedness of our minds. And so when you bring that because you connect well with others, and that is your that's your superpower. And I, you know, fortunately and unfortunately, academia gave me some of the tools that you're kind of talking about of, you know, some bigger words, but I was also still a failure in academia. I failed my senior thesis. You know, I got C's all the way through. I don't talk, where I'm not good at talking the talk. So I failed the academia thing, but it's, it taught me that lesson of being with the people. And so, but as you said, there's like little nuggets that you get along the way, that inspire you to like, oh yeah, you can connect the dots a little bit more. You know, I thought I was brilliant for coming up with this idea of what is truly restorative justice. You know, how do we heal the harms of the past? And I'm like trying to ask this profound question in my senior thesis, and little did I know that there's been this thing called restorative justice practice for millennia. And you know, and so like it's very humbling. And it just always encouraged me to continue to return to walk with the people. So and I see you doing that, and I just find a fellow kindred, somebody I look up to in that way. So
Thank you so much, Matt.
I want to share. I want to say something real fast. So you guys, I see Marcy, but I've been sitting over there listening to this lovely woman, but I get to listen to this lovely woman every single day. And I just want to say, when I met her and we started talking, and you know, here was somebody who was just like me, but guess what? Who had handled things in a much different way. And that was so commendable. She was talking about that, about the beloved community. And I was thinking to myself, she's got to meet these people. It's so important that she meets these people. And when she came, and I finally, because she didn't want to come at first, what a weird thing for me to ask when I don't really know her that well. But I seen how she shined, and I know how brilliant she is. And I said, you got to meet your people. And then she gets to come here, and it is true. She just said it so well today. We are a cloth of different, and as a whole, we are geniuses because we are more than one. You know what? We have everybody that makes it so great. And if the rest of the world started actually living like this, what a great world would it be? You know what I'm saying? So this is such a great message you gave. I love you so much.
I love you.
Marcy.
Hey, Marcy.
Julia, I freaking love you, Julia.
I love you.
So I want to share very similar what I could relate to from what you spoke about, which was when I joined this beautiful community. I absolutely felt like, what the F do I have to contribute? I have nothing to contribute to these highly educated people. And that's how I used to refer to you guys. I used to be like, oh, I found this wonderful group of highly educated people. But they have like love in their hearts, real love, and like a Jesus that's filled with love, not the one that we're seeing, because this was like in 2020 when COVID was happening. And then I was like, well, the world was saying that Christianity was turning like into nationalists and weird shit, and Jesus wasn't like their Jesus was like different. And anyway, sorry. See, this is why I don't talk to. So similar. However, you were one of those people. So it's just so you see my perspective. Because I saw you as intelligent, because you are, and you had this emotional intelligence about you that I'd never experienced before, with coupled with fucking kindness and love. And so it produced a bright light from you. And I don't click with women in general. Like my whole life, women have been like, because women were my abusers, whatever, blah, blah. So I don't know. I saw a beautiful light in you that I wanted. I wanted that emotional intelligence that you showed, because you would speak about it. You would speak about how you would transmute your anger or your negative feelings into a positive way. You would flip it around. And so anyway, I just want to say that you are one of those intelligent people, one of those highly educated people that I was referring to, that are filled with love and justice, and I just freaking love all of you guys. I look up to you guys. I absolutely feel the same though in regards to like intelligence and knowledge of what can I contribute, and so I ultimately end up contributing emotions. I'm so sorry every time. But I hope that through that you see the love, because I do love you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes you emotionally intelligent too, Marcy.
Yes, well,
We're
with
peas in a
practice,
pod.
because so I had a very, very good friend that said if practice makes you better. What did you say? Practice.
Anything you practice, you get better
Anything you
at.
practice, you get better at. Thank you.
Love
And
you,
so,
Marcy.
and it's true, and it's living proof, because now, today, I could be a woman that I wanted to be. 6 years ago, whatever years ago, 6 years ago, that I saw in you, Julia. So, love
Love
and
you.
from you all, the collective, because I have gained freaking knowledge and intelligence and love and support and like this incredible community through every single one of you. Just being here, showing up for each other. And so if that's all I could give is to show up and hope that you feel love for me, then that's good. Then that's it. Then that's what I'm here for. So mad love to you all. Thank you for being here, beautiful community.
Love you, Marcy.
Thank you. We'll hear from Rosie next.
Julia, I love you. I love you, mujer, because eres mujer chingona. You are passionate. And I love that passion. It is so vital and necessary. Don't ever let that go. Strategically, yes, using tactics on, how you're going to utilize when you need to beat somebody's ass. Okay. That foot up the ass sometimes, a lot of times, hey, it needs to happen. And if it's una chingona that has to give it, pues así es, right? That's my take on it, okay? But I want to say to you that, my son, academia, gosh, I have so much love on the one hand, but on the other, sourness about it, because my experience, like, first of all, it was created for whom here, okay? First of all. And so because of that history, that intentionally from the get-go was created with any of us in mind. Say us, I say, those of us, people of color, women, the other, okay, poor people in general, as well. It was for the elite of the elite, the bullshitters of the bullshit, okay, that is being that is being, just perpetuated. All right. So from that perspective, I would think like, all these individuals that I know that are, multiplied PhDs, and I would just think in my head as I'd be sitting as part of and state whatever I needed to, like, damn, these people are all about masturbation of their mind. That's what it comes down to. Okay. And of course, not everyone, because we have beautiful, select individuals in our group here that are just that beautiful because of the love within their heart. The other gente, in general, that are all about, the masturbation of the mind because they think they're the shit intellectually, they're full of it from my perspective. So I want to tell you, hermana, you know what? Stay chingona, stay passionate, and continue giving that love and spreading it, because I haven't seen you for a long time in person, but all of you are in my prayers on a constant, and I love you. I love you. And I would really love to be able to have some time to connect, like person to person, and just get to know each other even better,
Well,
So thank you.
we're
Love you,
gonna.
Rosie.
We hope you will make sure that you do that, Rosie. Make sure that connection happens. We have Maria and then Sally, and I think we're going to stop there. And okay, and Julius. Okay, Maria.
Julia, hermana chula bonita. We were taught that degrees equal smart, and we know that's a lie because I just put a picture in the chat, and one of the reasons I'm off camera is because I am preparing for Benito Bowl this afternoon. But if you think about Bad Bunny, people call him brilliant because he knows how to read the world, tell the truth, and he knows how to move people. He didn't need a bunch of titles for that. And you have that too. Your story, your growth, your way of seeing things, that's wisdom, that's intelligence. And as Rosie said, that's being chingona. And Julia, God gave you a sharp mind and a wise spirit. So degrees don't define that. And the way that you've learned, changed, and kept going, there's depth there. And so please don't let anyone, including yourself, shrink what God has built in you. And that goes for you too, Marcy.
Love you, Maria. Thank
Love
you.
you. Te quiero mucho. Mwah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Let's see, Sally. I noticed Amanda brought her family today. I hope she warned them that this is an R-rated church.
I just wanted to quickly reiterate what a lot of people have said. I've spent my life around, for decades around people in academia. Everybody's got degrees left, right, and center. And one of the things that my grandmother would say that a degree is just book learning. And I can attest to that. I have met many educated jackasses.
Yes.
So having a degree does not mean a thing. It's a person, their attitude, and everything that you've said today, Julia. So please don't feel intimidated by that. Everybody's saying you're wonderful, you're smart. You go find out what it is. Whereas others sit back on their laurels and the couple of things that they've written about and feel that they know the world. And that's not true. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Sally. Love you.
Julia, thank you so much for your words. And I shared this quote last weekend, but I'll read it again from Born in Blackness, the epigraph. All these words from the seller, but not one word from the sold. The kings and captains whose words move ships, but not one word from the cargo. Zora Neale Hurston, Barracoon. You could have all the credentials and the book learning and, studied all the physics and the math. But if you're not connected to the people, like Matthew said, if you don't know your history, like Julia, you mentioned in your message to us, if you don't have love, then are you really educated? And as everybody has said, you are one of the most educated people in our midst. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And don't sell yourself short in terms of being a fighter. Martin Luther King, yes, he had a tactic of nonviolence, but those who knew him understood that you don't organize in the heart of the South, the heart of darkness, and not be a fighter. If you went into his home, he had an arsenal in there. I'm talking firearms. He was a fighter, but to Anna Rosa's point, tactics and strategies can dictate the outward appearance. So thank you for the message. I've learned so much listening to you and Clint. I always give Clint a shout out because of the passion. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Julius.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Barbara, for getting us going today. We're going to have communion as we prepare to close, and I was just reflecting on, I don't know if anybody ever watches the comedian Josh Johnson on YouTube.
He's wonderful.
Yeah. So I was just recalling how he mentioned how many people were really upset and offended last year because Kendrick Lamar was the halftime entertainment. And he said, and you know, those angry people, they were like, well, at least maybe next year we'll go back to normal. And he said, well, I see you're Kendrick Lamar and I raise you no English.
Yes, yes.
That's great. So,
Hell
yeah. Rosie's going to lead us. Are you ready, Rosita? I don't see. Okay, there she is.
Okay, I think I'm off, or my mic is on now, right? Okay. Wow, what an amazing, beautiful, beautiful service. They're all so beautiful. Ooh. I wanna share from the book of Philippians. And just hopefully all of you have your elements ready and stuff, and just let me get this straight here. So I just want to encourage all of us to continue to love in spite of all of what we're experiencing on so many various levels. We really do, like Pastor emphasizes when he sends us messages and stuff, you know, emails. I'm like so grateful because we really do need to also take care of our hearts and our spirits. And right now with this craziness that is happening, it gets for me at least difficult sometimes to, you know, turn that noise down and not get so passionately angry over what's taking place. So I have really been leaning on the words of Philippians that we just try to stay grounded, always remembering that, yeah, we're going through what we're going through, but God, He's got us. He's doesn't let us go, and always forgiving, and that we know that we are forgiven. So just wanted to say and remind everyone, we are forgiven, we are loved, and all the beautiful things that God has in each one of us. Reason I can't even like remember like word for word, but it's in Philippians 4 where the scripture says for us to meditate on those goodness, the goodness of God each and every day. You know, that we focus and meditate on whatever is lovely, whatever is just, whatever is peaceful. You know, those are, you know, the love for each one another. Those are the things that we need to stop ourselves. Like, I know I have to do that within me, you know, and remember consistently, you know, God is love, God is patient. That's Corinthians, but still, you know what I'm saying. So with that in mind, I love you all. We know that God came to give his son to everyone, not just certain people. So take whatever element it is that you have, giving thanks to God for what he did for us. And in the same manner, drink and know that we are one with Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, everybody. Much love.